Okay, this is the budget committee. Today is May 18th. It's my brother's birthday. Nobody asked, but I'm excited.
How old?
Ask me that. I don't know. Older than I am. Shannon, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, Len, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I'm also here, so we'll get started. Thank you to Greg and Carrie for putting together the agenda. It's a short one today. We're going to talk about the administrative manual. We didn't get a chance to do that last time. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah, they're fine.
Looked great. Great?
They're
Okay, excellent, by acclamation. So I had sent some notes in a PDF to the committee members and just asked them to take a look at my thoughts. During the budget process last year, it was brought to our attention that, you know, it was discussed that we had been sort of making these incremental changes to the admin manual and that maybe it was time for us to just take a look at it. It is the only document, I believe, except for I think we have a couple of individual contracts that council kind of unilaterally decides the terms. But obviously we want to do that with sensitivity to the fact that it's people's jobs and livelihood. And so my goal for this is to make it mutually beneficial. So what do you guys think is the best way to do this? Like, do you want to go through it front to back and talk about the things that we think we may want to change? I know one thing that I did not get an opportunity to do, and I hope can be an outcome of this, is to understand some of the financial implications of the suggestions that we
Right.
are going to discuss.
Right.
So perhaps that could be shared after the meeting if we decide anything. I'm happy to do that, but I also know that you probably want to do it as well, just to understand, you know, how things might impact stuff. So just your decision. So let's get started. Did anyone have anything?
So Article 1,
Yep.
Section 4,
Uh-huh.
I did the same thing as you. I was trying to understand
Okay.
what those requests were. Did
Yeah.
you want to talk directly to the CA about that, or?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So on Article 1, Bullet 4, it says department head requests covered under this manual should be approved by the city administrator. But that's really vague. We don't know what that means. So if anyone, Greg, do you know? Are you smiling? Does anyone who?
Oh, so I wasn't listening to you at all.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That laughter was not for you.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. So I was just wondering if anyone knows what that is in regard to.
Article 1, Bullet 4, department head requests covered under this manual shall be approved by the city administrator.
Yeah.
So when you read through, like if you would search department head
Uh-huh.
in the document, you find certain references to department heads are responsible for removing all audit hours, for example, things like that. So a department head not approve their own, in that case.
Oh, I see what
the
you're
city
saying.
administrator approving the department head.
Okay.
For other references.
So it's just kind of out of place, it's just like on its own there,
It's
like a
a
non sequitur.
General note at the top of the document
Got it,
as to
okay.
how to interpret those certain references.
Okay, that makes sense, and I was thinking, because it does say, well, there were a couple of places where it said department heads, and I was thinking that it might make sense, since we have an org chart, to make it say designated supervisor, but I guess we'll get there. So that's what that means, is that they mean everyone who's not a department head, where it's otherwise specified, they have their request approved by a department head, but then department heads have to have their request approved by the city administrator, which is really straightforward. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Greg, is there any history of why that subsection was put in there?
Just to explain how instances within the document that are referring to department head approved an employee's this or that, and the other, who's approving the department head? So the department head's supervisor, not the case. It's just clarifying how that was work. I'm not sure when that was put in place, sometime past several iterations of it.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense, it's just kind of clunky because, yeah, it's just sort of a non sequitur, so maybe there's a better way to address that.
Yeah, like wordsmithing it out.
Yeah, with, you know, and then with the other, with the other things about who's approving what, maybe we can just make that clear.
Okay.
Okay, so that was, yeah, I guess I did have a question there. Did anybody have anything else on Article 1?
I don't.
No? Okay. Article 2, there, for me, there wasn't anything there that could or should be touched, so I moved right past that.
I don't know if that's just an opportunity, but if there's an updated law covering the public employees, that should be mentioned there.
Oh, okay.
Greg, is there anything new that maybe should be mentioned to protect the public employees within this article?
Article 2, I've not reviewed this recently and compared any suggested changes for next year.
Okay,
But as far as I'm aware,
yeah, so that's a good
I-
suggestion. We'll just make sure that the statutes are up to date and everything applicable is included in there.
Right, maybe that's an opportunity to bring in the city attorney for that.
Yeah, yeah, and we might be able to get some, you know, our public, our senior human resources specialist is a public employment expert, so he might be a great
Right.
resource for that as well. That could be just an email though, we don't
Okay.
think we need him to come.
Yeah, I just wanna
Probably
make
to
sure-
those two people.
Right. If we're updating this document, I'd like to make sure that public employees are covered.
And, Dave, where is it? Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to Article 3, work scheduling conditions. So this is one place where I felt like, because I wasn't understanding that, statement on the first page, but then also I think just in general, it makes sense for it to say instead of department head, which is like a proper noun, to be designated supervisor, because
I'm sorry,
everybody knows
you're
who
in
they
Article 3?
Yes, I'm in Article 3,
One.
bullet 1.
Right.
Because that is really straightforward.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, right, but I also wanted to highlight to you
Sure.
that back up on the second,
Oh,
or the first
sorry.
sentence that talks about overtime. I think there's questions about overtime,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
right? So,
Yeah, not the overtime. Gotcha, salaried exempt. So, your thoughts there?
because there's some overtime questions I think you had down below.
Are there?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you want to talk about with regard to, because salaried exempt is like a classification, so I don't know if we can like,
Right, I think there's some questions you both
Okay.
had about overtime further down, so I just
Okay.
wanted to highlight the
Okay.
fact that they're not paid overtime.
all right, so we'll talk about that below. Okay,
So, back to what you were saying, you want to cross out department head, but just put designated supervisor?
right, I mean, if I am looking at the org chart, right, and I think probably one of the places where this would be, like a practical example would be like DPW, which is so expansive. I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if this is the practice now, that someone like at the water department who needs to work overtime, does that person come to the department head and say, I need to work overtime, or do they go to like the chief operator?
So we don't have any administrative staff other than the chief operator at the water treatment plant.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh,
if
I
the
see
chief,
what you're saying.
if the chief operator has to do
Oh.
overtime, he's admin,
Okay,
he talks to me about it.
okay,
But they don't get paid overtime. We're basically on call 24/7, and we do tons of overtime as administrative staff without being paid for it.
okay,
it just seems very vague.
heard, yes.
Like,
Okay, so,
We give up hundreds of hours a year.
a group, like,
Also, just an example in my department, I have administrative employees,
Oh.
and
Sure,
That's what that's referring to.
sure. Yeah, I'm clear on what it means. I'm just thinking like,
But is
Yeah.
it, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say you have people who are on this classification who may not report directly to a department head, is what I'm saying.
All administrative people that are not department heads report to the department head.
Okay,
For example, my staff, I'm a department head, so I
Okay.
have 5 supervisors that report to me.
okay,
Facility maintenance supervisor, water sewer supervisor, street supervisor, water treatment plant chief operator, wastewater treatment plant chief operator.
okay,
I also have administrative staff that aren't really supervisors, but like in the engineering department report to me.
right,
So engineering technician, senior engineering technician, and senior civil engineer,
okay. And they all report to you?
they all report to me.
Okay, that's good to know. Because I was seeing all of these titles and assuming that they were not all directly reporting to you. Okay.
I think it just seems very vague. Like, why, I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to like, if they're working overtime, tons of ridiculous amounts of overtime, wouldn't we be like, all right, for every like 30 hours overtime you work, you're guaranteed flex time for X, Y, Z, like,
Yeah,
or are we just not keeping, do you guys not keep track of your overtime?
So we do, we
Okay.
put all of our time that we work in, our time sheets,
okay,
and, it's kind of an honor system. And so like, you get to the end of the 2-week period, if someone has over 80 hours, I generally, if they want to take the afternoon off, I let them take the afternoon off.
sure,
Many times people are well over their 80 hours. Some typically 90 to 100 hours over, or 90 to 100 hours instead of the 80.
okay.
Within the 2-week period.
Correct.
So this is really with regard to flex time. We don't do comp time except for holidays.
We do not do comp time, and we were advised by labor attorneys not to do comp time for administrators for a number of reasons, because it says it makes them appear as hourly instead of as salary. And it affects Department of Labor classifications. Also, it affects with retirement system. So
Okay.
what we do is we allow flex time, as Chris was describing, within that pay cycle, if requested, but we don't let it accumulate going forward. And so, you know, if somebody had a very long day and they want to come in late the next morning, that's fine.
And that probably happens a lot, right? Because they're in meetings all the time.
With my staff, no, we don't, there's not very much flex time. It's usually where they leave early or they need to go to a doctor's appointment, and they just go to the doctor's appointment, that kind of thing.
Probably happens with my staff more than any other
Sure.
department. Because I have, administrative, staff that are addressing water main breaks,
Right,
plowing snow, broken facilities, boilers that go down over at night.
Right.
Water treatment plant issues, wastewater treatment plant issues, power outages, you name it.
right. And, oh, go ahead.
So if someone comes to you and they've worked an 80 hour, like it's 90 or whatever. Like, how do you decide how much they get of what? Like, do they get, like, you said that they might get an
So at a
afternoon?
minimum, we request that they do at least 80 hours every 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right.
But it's
So
sort of
by
like,
the end of the 2 weeks, they get their 80 hours. If they have 84 hours and they say to me, I want to take the afternoon off, I've never rejected anyone requesting that.
okay. So it's pretty much
It's-
like restricted to like the Friday at the end of the pay period.
Kind
Because
of, not always, but kind of.
Okay. Okay.
It's just arbitrary. So it's like, why not, if we're gonna have it in here, make it more structured?
Yeah. And do you have any thoughts on that too?
No, so you're good with just leaving it as department head after Chris's explanation? Because I think that was gonna be.
Yeah, I guess that
Point
makes
out the
sense.
org chart.
Yeah. But I think we do have to address it. The overtime thing. I mean, 10 hours of overtime. So my understanding is that you have a standard work day and a standard work year with the retirement system. But if you are regularly, like routinely working over that you have to report that as overtime.
No, we max out at the retirement system, we max out.
Okay.
And the only overtime that gets reported is the paid dollars, not the hours.
Okay.
So hours do not get reported, only days worked. So, say for example, you work a normal, 4-week period, we get 2 pay cycles in the month.
Mhm.
Each pay cycle is 80 hours, so you'll get 20 days reported.
Right.
So if an administrator works, instead of working 160 hours that time period, they work 240 hours, they still only get 20 days worked reported, because that's the maximum.
Right.
What the retirement system will not accept anything more.
Okay. Great. What are you guys thinking?
Oh, which part?
Well, we're still on
The
Article,
structure, yeah.
Article
right.
3, work
Three.
schedule and conditions.
Yeah.
Section
Right. Well, we can kind of do the whole thing if you want. I mean, I think the work schedule thing makes sense. Bullet 2, we're working the same schedule, that's, that makes sense. Obviously, time worked as well. Sure.
I need to step out, so I was gonna say something at the end, I
Oh.
said at the beginning. Is it okay if
Okay.
I just give you?
Sure,
little
yes,
mental
we'll
break
have
on
like
that
a
one?
little,
I saw
we'll put
your eyes
a,
like, I don't know what to say next.
we'll put a pin in this.
Just for one moment, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
I wanted to sort of report to the committee on the strategy part of the committee. And that we had talked before about getting the strategic plan draft, and I know it's on my shoulders, so I'm reporting to you that I was hoping to have something in hand today, at least in textual form.
Okay.
But by June you will, and before then you have it, so then we can have a more robust discussion on that
Okay,
at the next meeting. So I'll send it to you between now and the next meeting, so you can have your comments, thoughts, and you can respond to me beforehand.
okay,
But I just wanted you to know that it wasn't a forgotten element of our workshop meeting, that I
Okay.
have this delivery for you to start working on.
okay,
So I want you to know that's coming.
thank you,
And
thank you
hoping-
for,
You're as excited about it as I am, because I think it gives us a sense of direction that will be a lot of fun to be pursuing.
yeah, I mean, yes, I am, thank you for not dropping the thread.
No, that's why I wanted to tell you that,
Yeah.
that it's there, that's probably, so, anyway,
Mhm.
I have to go, but, thank you for.
That's okay, thank you
doing
for
what
coming.
you're doing. And hopefully we'll have hopefully a fun conversation in June about at least the draft form of that, and then hearing your ideas, following our workshop meeting, and trying to incorporate those, and then how things will
Sure.
settle onto it, and kind of give us some vision that we can all share together.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you for coming for a
Yes.
brief moment.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting me speak.
Well, okay, so I think the other piece that was discussed in the fall was the method of annual salary increase, and so the salary piece that has to be looked at comprehensively, like, if we're gonna address overtime, it's like levers, right? Like if we're gonna address overtime and, annual salary increases, and like, we just have to think about how they interplay.
So you thinking that you want to see how many hours are worked per position beyond schedule? Is
I
that
just
what-
think if you are regularly working one full day of overtime,
Yeah,
Per pay period?
per pay period, that's a lot.
yeah.
You know, and, yeah, I mean, I appreciate hearing the concerns about it, and that's something we'll have to keep in mind, but I don't wanna just disregard it because of that, cause that's a lot. I mean, I think, if we bring it back to the strategic plan, like, having people working in positions and feeling like they're going to stay in them because they're satisfied and they have decent work-life balance. Hits basically every strategic priority because we can't run the city without employees who want to be here and are not frustrated with the work conditions. So I know that would be hard for me if I was in that position to be
That you're
working.
consistently working more than your scheduled hours.
Yeah, I would honestly, frankly, because this is what I do, I would be calculating what my actual hourly rate was every time, or my actual salary based on the hours worked. And I would feel like I was not being valued through my salary for the work that I was getting for the city. And I understand being salary exempt. And, you know, if you work an hour, couple hours of overtime every once in a while, but like consistently working more than a standard workday of overtime is like, that's then a requirement of your job.
So are you thinking that you would come off the salary thought process?
No, not necessarily, but I think there's a way to capture that. Maybe it's a stipend for positions that are consistently on call or something, you know, like with the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant, if you know you're always on call, being salary exempt shouldn't. Maybe there's a rotating on-call schedule for DPW. That's not gonna work because you have specialized people. Shoot. But anyway, we can maybe float some ideas about ways to like address that, you know, without
To-
taking away the salary exempt.
Right, because you're concerned about the
Classification.
valuation, self-evaluation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I don't think it's a matter of hiring somebody else, because again, that, like, even still, you have those specialized people where, like, if something happens at the water treatment plant people have to go in. So it's not like having, in my understanding, it's not like a staffing issue necessarily. It's the fact that that type of work inherently comes with some on-call nature.
Mhm.
So regarding the on-call,
Mm-hmm.
we have staff that rotate through the on-call.
Yeah, and they're like
They're
CSA staff, right?
CSEA,
Yeah,
right, but when there's a problem, they have to call the chief,
right,
right? So,
that's,
like I mentioned, you're basically on call 24/7. Every one of the supervisors, including me, on DPW anyway, we're all 24 hours
right.
on call.
And on the one hand, that's why you're paid as an administrator. But on the other hand, if you're consistently reporting back to work or working for
Right.
an additional full day, that's not like, yeah. Then your work week is not 80 hours, it's 90 to 100 hours consistently.
Again, I give leeway, and I've talked to Greg and Jenny about this before, like if there's a major water main break, and Jeremy's there till 4 AM because they've been there since 7 PM the night before, I might just tell them to take the next day off,
Sure.
you know? I might not tell them wait till wait until Friday.
Sure.
You know, if it happens on a Monday, save them, take Tuesday off.
Yeah. Well, and there's something to be said for having that flexibility, and I know as an employee, I appreciate that kind of flexibility, so I don't wanna make it too rigid that it's like, this is exactly what happens, because I think that there's,
And the
yeah,
other
I
thing
think there's
is,
value in being able to be like, okay, I'm exhausted, I need to take the next day off.
you know, for each one of my supervisors, there are working supervisors under them that can take, you know, there's a reason for that, because, you know, they do, you know, wanna take a vacation day, the working supervisors can take charge of the crew while the supervisor is not there.
Right.
Or they can report to me if I'm in.
Okay.
So I do have a question about Article 3, subsection 3.
Sure.
Again, I guess, looking at the city employees in the room, if you have the answer, I appreciate it. I'm trying to understand it. time spent traveling on behalf of the employer represents time worked. Got it. But this second sentence is where the driver of the automobile who is required to pick up other employees and transport them to a specific work location is working while driving. I'm trying to understand why that's in there. It's kind of a,
I'm not familiar with that section.
I'm not sure where that originated. Jenny?
It was a situation where a person was questioned as far as, am I being paid when I go to pick up these people? So say, for example, I was gonna take my whole finance team to a meeting, and I was going from house to house to house. So it was written in there specifically for instance that happened. It can be modified and moved, but it was just to make it clarify that yes, you are indeed working when you are traveling and picking up your other employees, instead of just traveling to your destination.
and is that to cover said employee if they were to be involved in motor vehicle crash? 'Cause we had something similar to that in the fire department a long time ago, but.
So it has to be, so if they're traveling and they're picking up people, it needs to be on their travel orders, what time they're leaving,
Mhm.
and then where their destinations are. That's described in their travel orders, so it's protection.
So this isn't that we're going to work, like I'm working with Chris and I'm picking him up to take him to work, it's assumed that I'm now on
Correct,
the
no,
clock.
it's for, no, it's not because you're picking somebody up to bring them into City Hall. It's picking them up because you're gonna go somewhere for training, or you're gonna go somewhere to, for a work site for, that's out of location here.
Gotcha.
It's not like I'm going to pick up Carrie and bring her into City Hall. It's when travel orders are needed.
Gotcha.
Maybe that's something we could do there, let's just put that in there, the travel orders within travel orders.
Yeah.
Terry's really good at word
Traveling with travel, time spent traveling with travel orders on behalf of the employer.
Okay.
And I guess along these lines, just so that I can understand the culture here, I only know Summers else. It's only hours worked, you're not including hours traveled from home to places.
My time starts when I enter the door here. Unless I'm on call, like if I'm on a phone call at home. and I'm
When
on-
Carson is calling you, bugging you about something.
Right, I'll put down that time.
Yeah, that's fair,
Yep.
Yeah.
okay. That's fair.
Sitting at midnight sending emails, I charge that time, you know?
Yeah, that's fair, that's doing city business,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
thank you.
Do I always tell you to stop sending emails at midnight?
Well, we get.
I follow the leader.
I was gonna say, Greg's sending them out those hours. I think he survives on 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night.
So I would be interested in adding something in there about documenting city business as time worked. That I think kind of warrants a clause that says, you may, if it's excessive or whatever, that you may be at the discretion of your supervisor, you may have to submit examples of work done from home or outside of work hours or whatever.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Chris is the one that has the 7, everybody else is pretty much, he has 7, I'm gonna call them departments underneath him, so.
Right.
Is there anybody else that has that? Meaning, the department head is looking at their staff immediately. Whereas he has 7, we'll call them department heads underneath him.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so what is your question?
So I'm trying to understand the thought process. If these, we'll just stay with Chris, so if these 7 are working consistently past their 80 hours per pay period,
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking that there's gonna be a form or something that they would,
No,
just,
no, I'm
just to
thinking
let
of
Chris
like
know what they were
well-being.
working on?
I don't
So that
have
he
it.
doesn't have to
Doesn't
have a
that make
running tally in his head?
More
I haven't
work
gotten
for
that
Chris.
far.
Oh, I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, because there's a time clock, right? When they're
Everything's
recording
recorded.
it. But you're saying that if you're like at home and somebody calls you and there's an emergency, you start the clock, and I think that makes sense because you flip the switch to city business. So what I was saying is putting something in here that says, you know, that time spent on city business outside of work hours is considered time worked, but that if there was something where, you know, somebody was always like, well, I do 2 hours of emails at home, you know, that would be something that the supervisor would have a reasonable request to say like, can I see some of the emails that you're sending at like midnight or whatever, especially if we're gonna be into like, I don't wanna say compensate, but acknowledge time, extra time worked, especially when it's consistent. Just that it's reasonable for the supervisor to say, I'd be interested in what you're doing.
The majority of my staff, it's actual time,
Like they're here, right?
right? It's
Sure.
it's probably only mostly me that's, you know, sending emails, taking phone calls, whatever. I get a call from public safety, I get a call, you know, from fire department because they need a, whatever, something from DPW for salt in the road because they're in a firefight, or whatever it might be, various reasons. Tree fall down. Usually it's a disaster type related incident why I'm being called and my supervisor is being called.
Well documented
Yeah.
situation, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how applicable that would be, we only have, we have a couple of folks here who can speak to their departments, but might be worth mentioning.
I'm scribing a little bit.
Okay, cool, thanks, me too. Together, we'll figure out what we talked about. Okay, so I have notes on that stuff. Is there anything else? Recognizing that we're floating the work week / not really overtime conversation throughout the document so that we can kind of look at that holistically. I'm just gonna put a reminder to myself to not forget. Okay, do you feel comfortable moving on to Article 4? Okay, Article 4, compensation. So I put notes on the longevity piece, but I'm kind of curious, so there were some questions that I had with regard to Appendix B.
So
They're pretty long.
the longevity, Jenny, since you've been here how old is this schedule?
Oh, was this particular schedule? This got updated, this particular schedule got updated when I became director, so I want to say about 7 years.
Okay.
But it's similar in its formation?
I'm sorry?
It's similar in its formation to the one
It's
previously?
similar in the formation, except it used to max out at 2,175.
Okay.
That's what it used to max out. And just so you know how longevity works, you have a base salary according to the grid, then you have a longevity. At year 5, $1,000 gets added into your hourly rate. Then the next year, that $1,000 turns into $1,200, and so they get a $200 increase each year.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just gets added into their total wages, which gets added into the hourly rate. And that's how it's done citywide for all employees.
Okay. Yeah, we have talked about this a little bit in the budget. You guys can see my notes there. I think we should just, rather than doing 200 each year, do 5, 10, 15, 20, and just make it so my jump goes from 1,000 at 5 to 2,500, so it's 1,500 over the course of 5 years, and then I guess that's maybe keep it. No, 2,500 seems good, and then 30. I had 3,500 at 15 years, and then 5,000 at 20.
May I be at liberty to say something?
Maybe in a moment. I just wanna work this through with the committee first, thanks. So, I mean, overall, we're sort of paying more, but for me, that seems more like rewarding service, and there's sort of a potential savings there, because if somebody retires at year 17, they have only had the 15-year longevity as opposed to, it's higher than what I proposed, but they would not have those other years of longevity until they got to 20. That's my thought.
And I had agreed with the preliminary draft that you have. Because recognizing that we're off of flats, we're into percentages now. And so we're moving towards an escalating number, recognizing the employee value. And so your chart would do the same thing, because your valuation has gone up.
Mm-hmm. Weird.
But you're taking away the people at 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, and 9 years.
Right, so you would get a bigger bump at 10, but you wouldn't get the bumps each individual year.
But then I don't know that I would feel respected as an employee not getting anything for 5 years. That probably would discourage me.
No, I have 5 years on there.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the time in between. Like, do you get a Christmas bonus or a holiday bonus or anything like that? Do you get any?
No, but every year longevity in the public sector is pretty rare too.
But I don't know. I feel like
It's not the only raise.
no,
Right.
no. I'm just saying it's like if you're looking to make people feel valued, why wouldn't we give them this ongoing to say, hey, we're thinking about you.
Well, you end up getting more the longer you stay, so it's sort of incentivizing
Exactly.
staying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
in my scale, which is 1,000, I'm just gonna write it so that it's like, you end up getting more for these, but
Right.
yeah.
Okay, but I mean, we could still give them more. But I think taking it away from the other years, I don't know that. Because some people will come to depend on that money, they work it into their income. They might, why they might stay with us because they're getting this money, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's a similar thing to like looking at what I had said about the overtime, like we have to look at it as a whole package. So if we're going to look at salary increases differently, then we have to look at kind of everything differently. So for me, like this is like, longevity is sort of an incentive for how long you stay in a position, but if it's given every year, then, and it's $200 every year. Cause you're saying that it's a total of $4,000 that you get after 20 years?
After 20 years, you'll have 4,000. You'll have your base, so say you're at 50,000, you'll have 4,000 in total, so you'll have 54,000 for your total salary. It's not a lump sum payment.
No, I understand that. That wasn't my question. So, on my 5th year, my salary is $20,000. You're gonna add 1,000, it's 21,000.
Correct.
On my 6th year, we've calculated my increase, right, because the longevity goes to base. We've calculated my increase, say it's 24,000 total. Which is my increase including my longevity. You add 1,200 to that, so it'd be 20, you add 200.
Only 200.
That's what I thought.
And the one comment that I wanted to, because I think it'll help your thinking, we have incorporated this schedule into every union contract. So if you were to change this on the administrators would actually be making less longevity than their staff members.
Well,
Because
But the
these-
longevity amounts go up, it's just only paid at increments of 5.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that this longevity schedule is in the CSA contract, it's in the PVA contract, it's in the sergeant contract, and the fire contract is a little different. Their longevity schedule starts at a later year. So on year 5, I'm an administrator, or say at year 8, I'm an administrator. If if I understand your proposal right, you only want me to get $1,000 longevity added onto my base.
At year 5.
No,
No, I'm
I'm saying
saying-
if I, at year 8,
Yeah,
right?
it would be nothing at year 8. It would be at 5, 10, 15.
Okay, longevity
20.
never gets added into your base. It's always separate. It's always a separate number. It never gets then re-added into your base. So year 1, I'm hired at $20,000. And say I get $1,000 for the next 5 years. So now my base is $25,000. I hit my 5-year mark. Now I get $25,000 plus $1,000, so my total is $26,000.
Uh-huh.
The next year, I get $1,000 in my base and another $200 in my longevity. So now my total is 20, what was my example, 25 and 1?
Start
So now it's going to be 26 and 1,200. So I'm gonna get a $1,200 raise. Then the next year, it's gonna be another $1,200 raise.
So that was my initial question, was that it's 1,000 and then 1,200 and then 1,400?
It's.
Yeah, for every year of service that you see in that table, whatever your base salary is in that year, add the longevity that's to the right.
Right, so,
So in year 14, whatever amount you're making, add $2,800.
Gotcha. Wow, that's very generous. So you're saying, it's compounding, because by the end of this, you've earned all of these.
No, it's only $200 a year.
Okay,
The
so I was
longe-
understanding
The
it
longevity,
correctly.
you're only getting $200 a year.
Okay, I
So
wasn't,
ignore the base pay.
okay.
Year 5, you get 1,000. Year 6, you get 1,200. Year 7 is 1,400, but it's only 200 increment.
so
Right.
here's your 5. You're at 25,000, you get a $1,000 longevity, so your total for that year is 26,000.
Right.
Next year, you get a $1,000 raise,
Uh-huh,
you get a $200 longevity raise, so your total is 27,200.
uh-huh. But it's only if you got a $1,000 raise and your longevity is 12, like,
And then-
yeah.
so
You're
you're
still
getting-
like, you're
so
only
what-
getting $200.
You're only getting 20, so this is your base, and I'm just giving you an example, this is your base adjustment
I get it.
according to the grid.
Uh-huh,
Then this is your longevity adjustment according to the grid.
I get it.
So it's a $1,200 raise each year.
But because this doesn't get added to base,
Does not get added.
you're basically like starting here and you get $200.
So
So
this
you get
is-
your $1,000 raise and then $200.
Yeah, so that's your total. So your total wages is made up, could actually be made up of 3. So if you get a stipend, say somebody is getting a stipend for a special license or like the deputy police,
Sure.
they get a stipend. So it's those 3 components that add up to your total wages.
And so what is the thinking on not adding longevity to base?
Because we keep it separate, because we
But
want.
that's not a reasoning, that's a
No,
process.
No, it's not, no, the reason is because we wanna make sure that everybody's getting their longevity that they are due. If it's added into their base, we lose track. Because if schedules change, I can't tell you how many times I've had to go for union contracts and go reconstruct how their wages changed in total because everything got added together. We would lose if somebody got a $500 adjustment because they got a license or
Well,
whatever the
license is
criteria-
different than longevity.
Right, but that's why we keep it separate. So in all of your databases, when you go into the employee's detail, you're gonna see base, longevity, stipend, education, like the firemen. We now keep track of their base, their longevity, and their EMT stipend for depending on what level they are.
Sure.
So that way, we're able to keep track to make sure that everybody is on the proper grid.
Gotcha.
So if you end up adding it all together, it gets lost, and then you have to rebuild.
Gotcha. So I'm, obviously, I'm in favor that I still haven't heard anything that would make me think that it would not be better to do it this way, because the whole point of longevity is to reward staying in a position for a determined period of time, and just coming back year after year is different than, hey, you've been here 5 years, it's a milestone, 10 years is a milestone. So that's sort of how I'm thinking about it. And then the fact that it would be like more over time, and what I was thinking was, it's $1,000, and then that gets added to your base, so you're earning that $1,000 every year, and then $2,500 at year 10.
But it's increased $200 a year.
No, I'm
Yeah,
super
yeah,
clear on that, yeah.
And as I said before, if you were to change this, then our staff members will be earning more longevity than the administrators. Because it's in their
I
contract.
don't know
Based
that
on the
that's
schedule.
true.
Pardon?
So
Well-
you're saying that the amounts, I just want to be clear, so you're saying that the
Yes.
amounts that
Confused.
are listed here are more than in the other bargaining units?
No, they're the same,
They're the
except for the
same.
fire, correct?
But I'm having trouble understanding how increasing the amount overall it would be earning less than,
Because if I understand what you're saying, you want $1,000 for year 1 through year 5. Is that?
$1,000 at year 5,
Uh-huh. And then what's at year 6?
nothing. Then at year 10, 2,500.
Yeah, so we would be earning less longevity than our staff members.
But it goes up, the number goes up, I don't understand. That's, like, overall, the number is $1,000 higher after 20 years, so I don't know, that's not making sense to me.
When you say $1,000 in year 5 and 0 in year 6,
Yes.
$50,000 salary in year 5, let's just say, we would add $1,000, that's 51. If someone's salary is $50,000 in year 6, they would get 0 longevity, so they'd be
You would
making
keep the
$50,000.
$1,000,
You keep
like you would,
the-
yes, the $1,000, I guess,
$1,000 per year,
would
years
continue.
1 through 4.
Yes.
In year 5, it goes to 25.
Yes.
And what I'm
And
saying,
then where does it go? Because I don't have any documentation.
Oh,
It's 10 and 15 and
3,500 at 15
35.
and 5,000 at 20.
and what would happen is that the CSEA worker at year 6 would be getting $1,200 for the longevity instead
Sure.
of $1,000.
But you would be incentivized to stay for 10 years because you would get 2,500. That's why I'm on the 5-year thing.
I don't really love it though.
No?
I really don't. Like, cause it's like, I mean, as somebody who worked, I mean, like, when I had the daycare, man, I used to really love when the state would be like, hey, you're working hard, here's some help. We see that you're doing this and you're doing above and beyond, like, especially COVID, that was crazy.
But
Like,
that's different than
but-
longevity, which is just for how long you've been in your position.
But I'm saying you're seeing it as like a milestone.
Yes.
And I think ultimately, like, if I'm understanding correctly, if we just do 1,000, like say it's the 50,000, and it's just the 1,000 at year 5, then they're just making 51,000 for the next 5 years until 10 years.
No, because they would still have salary increases. So their salary would go to 52,000, 53,000, 54,000. It's just a $1,000 bump, and then you keep having that $1,000.
Until the 52 or the 2,500.
Right, so like, let's tease that out, so you have $50,000 salary at year 5, you get a $1,000 bump. Outside of your salary increase, that's $51,000. So then every year your salary increases $1,000, let's say that. So then you're 52,000, 53,000, 54,000, 55,000. Then at year 10 it would be 56,000, but you would get 2,500, so it would be 58,500. So you'd have like a jump at year 5 or at year 10. And then 59,500, 65,000, 61,500, 62,500, 63,500, but then you would be 64,500, 67. You'd be at 67,000. So you go from 64,500 to 60. That's not right, is it? 68.
Okay, but then, so, where's the, where's she at?
Oh, do you have that paper, Denny, that you made the, thank you. We're teasing it out. Thank you. I love a working committee. Thank you for doing
So here's, say somebody comes in at 25,000 at year 5 and they get their $1,000 longevity. So their total wages is gonna be 26,000 for that year. The next year they get a $1,000 base increase at 26,000. And then they get a $200 longevity increase, so now they're gonna get a $1,200.
So we're adding this
So,
longevity to the,
right, so every year the longevity
that.
was
But not
$200.
200, just 200.
Just 200, right, but to get to their total wages will be made up of a $1,000 base increase and a $200 longevity increase. increase.
Right.
So they'll go from 26 to 27.2. Next year, they get another $1,000, so their base is 27, and then their longevity goes up another $200, so then they'll be at 28.4.
So it's, okay.
Okay, and then the point I'm trying to make is because
So-
these schedules are in all the other contracts, if I was here 5 years, my longevity would only
Okay.
be 1,000, but my staff member would be higher. And so
Okay,
they
I'm
would
gonna
get
move to something
$1,800 instead of
hopefully as controversial though.
So,
Yeah,
do you see,
I'm
do
there.
you see how it
Alright.
goes? Do you see what happens? So that gets maxed out, so if you're 26.
Thank you, Greg.
that gets maxed out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's
Okay.
a comparison.
So ultimately, it's getting $1,000 extra and then bumped up 200. Okay. So we're not, it's, okay. Thank you.
So, I'm gonna put a pin in this for right now. And I would like to go to the appendix B, which is referenced a couple times. That's obviously something that we have talked about during budget time. So I was hoping that our city administrator could just give us an overview, and I know you've done it before, of how these grades and base ranges are determined. Because I know that we adjust them sometimes from year to year. So what is like the criteria for our understanding?
Right, so prior to me, I can't speak to that.
I'm sorry.
Prior to 2023, I really
Oh,
can't speak to how
sure.
they were established originally.
Okay,
I know that, I think when City Administrator Courthauer, Manager Courthauer was here, they came up with this this iteration of a schedule, and a little different before that. We did a salary study in 2023 that looked at every title in the city at that time, including CSEA, all the unions, administrators as well. Based on where individual titles were determined to be, we roughly grouped them in somewhat logical groups, A1, A2. So we didn't establish a base range A1, A2, A3, and then assign individual titles to that range. We looked at individual
Sure.
titles and where, according to the salary study, they were roughly, falling in the market.
Okay.
That was evaluated, and then drove a circle, if you will, around that to create these grades. Just
Yeah.
to be similar to how we do
Buckets.
things with the unions, even with not union contract.
okay,
And then having a base range, the intent there was to, again, this isn't a union contract, it allows some flexibility based on experience and qualifications, especially when you're hiring someone new to the city.
mm-hmm,
I mean, if they're being hired in A3 and they're a little bit less experienced in qualifications, maybe they're further to the lower end of the range, maybe they're higher in the range based on that.
sure,
So it gives some flexibility there.
okay, I like that,
And then the range itself typically has, so down at the bottom, it says annual adjustment would be $1,500 unless otherwise approved by common council.
right,
So we've typically moved the bottom and the top of the range up by that same amount every year too.
okay. And so this is, just to be clear, this $1,500 adjustment is to the starting salaries and the existing people in these titles, or just to the starting salaries?
Existing, so when we talk about, again, at the bottom where it references the annual adjustment of 1,500, that could change every year depending on the council, like maybe it's
Right.
1,000 for a few years, and 1,500.
Yeah,
So to me, it makes sense if you're gonna increase the existing employees by a certain amount, then you'd increase that range.
gotcha, so.
Now, another way to do it would be to not have grades at all, and just look at individual titles and say, based on some analysis, whatever that is, salary, study, or whatever, you might have a range or a specific salary for that individual title.
So
It's
just to
not
be
the only way
clear.
you can do it however you want.
The $1,500 is to existing employees, but we're adjusting the range, the starting ranges as well, just to be, okay.
Keeping up.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood that clearly. Okay, thank you. I want to talk about this more. Glad that you're doing that. So, okay. Do we have any thoughts on this? I know that it has been kind of talked about ad nauseum. For me, with that explanation, I would want to look at these titles.
We looked at, the salary study was based on community center and size to us. But we've now included other communities when we looked at other factors affecting the city of Oleana.
Yep,
Maybe we should open that up to see if there's information out there
sure.
that can be gathered from those other communities towards those titles.
Okay. So are you thinking like the communities that we,
Based
Like
on taxes, the housing,
okay,
was more similar to some
Yeah.
of those communities.
water, fire protection,
Right.
okay,
All of it involved, all the services.
okay. Use all farms, use. So, sorry,
I think.
Go ahead.
Get a sort of point of view. So trying to recognize the value of the employees that stay. I'm trying to understand,
wait, you're not
what does
going back
that
to
look
longevity, you're not going back to longevity, are you?
no,
Okay.
I'm trying to understand.
I'm not ready for
how
that.
many- How many employees that are in these administrative positions stay past 10 years? And any of you could speak up to
I
that.
was wondering that too.
So,
We did an analysis on that.
you did it?
I could, I
Okay.
think I might have shared that after coming from, something similar to that.
Right, 'cause I think ultimately,
Go ahead.
give me the liberty of trying to speak for Katie and myself, is that trying to value the employee that stays, what does that look like? Not necessarily thinking that the additional $200
Right,
is actually doing that.
right,
We're trying to create an environment, I guess, financially compensated that shows value, even though I believe there's other ways of showing someone that they have value other than putting it, to monetary terms. So
yeah.
I'm curious of how many of the administrative staff stay past 10 years, and what does that look like? Because it seemed for a while there, we were floating people in and out.
Mm.
And I don't mean people that transfer in that had, say, 10 years somewhere else and they floated in on allowed transfer. Somebody that actually has been working with the city of Oleana for the last 10 years. What does that,
Yeah.
what does that look like? Why did they stay 10 years?
I asked that question in the vacation piece, just because it really breaks it out. Initial hire 5 to 9, 10 to 19, this is on page 3. Then it's 2021, 22, 23, 24. And I was wondering how many people covered under this manual
Right.
have been, like, historically even, have been here for that long.
Because I challenged the word resignation in there. That's the one word
Oh,
that
me
gets me
too.
throughout this document.
Me
I
too.
understand why you guys allow an individual that has only worked for a short period of time to garnish all the same benefits that you guys
To
get.
get like 15 days
The
vacation
word
and then
resignation
paid
is in
out
there, yeah.
at
multiple-
resignation. I'm like,
multiple
what?
times, and I'm like,
My head exploded when I read
I'm
that.
curious why.
No, hold on.
Sure.
They-
We're gonna get there though.
You mean as far as what they have earned when they leave
Yeah,
termination?
They're not hitting those milestones of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they're allowed to take all those benefits with them. They're allowed to take them with them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
So, if this is all about recognition of employee value,
For me, that's what it is. It's people who stay. How can we incentivize that through this document?
But if you leave a job at 9 years, something happens, shouldn't it not be recognized for the 4 years that you put in 100 hours or 120 hours every few weeks? I mean, like,
I guess I was looking at the 1 through 5, Shannon, is that,
Right.
I can think of some
Or-
employees that were here for 1 through 5, and they got to take all their vacation and holiday time, and everything that these guys that work year after year after year get.
right.
So let's tease this out. So under vacation, we are skipping ahead here. At initial hire, you're granted 10 days vacation. Up could be 15 upon the decision of the city administrator. And I don't know if you have to approve that with council, but either way, it could be 15. But let's say it's 10. Then after 1 year, if you resign, you could take those accrued vacation days with you. Under the current admin manual.
What page you on?
page 3, under vacation, and then on page 4, it says, vacation earned during any employment year but not used may be carried over into the next calendar year. So you could accrue 20 vacation days, and then if you go to C, it says, after completing 1 year of continuous employment with the city, all covered personnel should be entitled to cash payment and vacation time standing to the credit of such personnel for reasons of retirement, resignation, or death.
So the question is, sorry,
Someone who was hired, has worked for 1 year, is credited with 20 vacation days, could say, I'm out, and get 20 days, which is a month's worth of pay.
they would have 10 days per year.
But they would get, if they get 10 days at initial hire, and then 10 days in their second year, it's 20 days. 10 is a lot. At hire, 20,
Yeah, I mean, the reason for having the option for more than 10 is because we've had several instances where, a lot of times, hiring new administrators may come from outside the organization.
yeah,
That's happened quite a few times in the past 2
Yeah,
years or so.
I understand that.
There were a number of times where the council was asked to authorize an additional week of vacation as essentially a recruitment tool.
Yeah.
For someone who's later or mid-career, already has 4 or 5 weeks elsewhere, is taking a cut here so that it softens the blow.
no,
So
that makes sense.
Building that into the contract gave us that flexibility.
I think the issue is not with that piece, it's with the resignation after 1 year piece.
It's also a sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm good. Okay.
You're good.
It's also a sliding scale. So if you leave at 2 years and 1 day, you don't or 1 year and 2 days, you don't
Prorated.
automatically get the 20.
Okay,
It's based on the amount of time that you've put in. There's a whole formula spreadsheet that Dave has that he'll calculate what you would get if you
Yeah.
left,
that's good.
so.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that is afforded to people who resign in this,
Early.
yeah, in this document. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I believe that's consistent, I just checked CSEA, it's consistent with CSEA as far as resignation at whatever time. If you have a balance of holiday, vacation time, holiday time as well, you can be paid.
So it sounds like Glenn and I are in agreement with regard to updating that language. What are your thoughts on that? The resignation.
Because of because Carrie just said it's prorated, so what is the change in language for? You're not liking how much they're getting paid with them at 1 year? If they have the 10 days that were granted to them upon hire, we hired them with them, they're allowed to use them, they didn't use them, why would we not grant them to them?
I mean, okay. Say more. I think that, I don't know, if you don't use them, it's not, so for me, I took issue with the holiday one, where if someone works a holiday and then they don't get a comp holiday or paid out for that holiday time, then they basically volunteered for that work day. But if you are given vacation days and you don't take them, but you've been paid for time worked upon separation, I don't know how common it is to get that paid out.
I'm sorry.
So, I don't know, I mean, I think the thing is, I want to make, my overarching goal is to make this better in ways that, or make changes to this that make it feel better and work better for people who stay with the city. And in order to do that, we have to, it's levers, we have to say, certain things, like, so for me, this thing in 1 to 5 with the longevity, sorry to go back there, it works out to be the same, but it rewards people for staying longer. So, and same with this, I think we should prorate for initial hire up to at least the first year. prorate vacation rather than just granting 10 days. But I understand having flexibility to offer extended vacation to people who may be taking, I understand it as a recruitment tool, that makes sense. But I think if we're going to, add this and this and this and this with regard to longevity and salary increase and potentially some of the other things, then we have to make concessions in places where it wouldn't necessarily impact anybody who is working for the city now, but might impact new hires and improve practices going forward.
Right, these are vacation days for the people who are working 90 and 100 hours every 2 weeks. So it's like, are you,
Well, okay, I wanna make sure that we're addressing things independently. So we agree that people who are working 90 and 100 hours every 2 weeks should be in some way recognized for that through this manual. That's not their vacation days when they quit. That's totally different. I mean, in my professional opinion, that's not how you keep people. That's not how you recognize them for their overtime work. Those two things are not even remotely related.
are we even legally allowed, if somebody, it's a question, anybody can answer it, who knows? Or if somebody works and accrues the PTO or vacation days, and then they resign, or we fire them or whatever, are we legally required to pay them then?
No.
If it is in a written agreement,
Right.
legally required to pay them, yes.
So even if they earned them,
I would have to research on earning them, I don't know if there's case law on it. But I do know that, as Greg was saying, this is also in all the other union contracts. So again, if you diminish what the administrators are getting, they're getting less than their staff members. But Katie, to your point about encouraging administrators to stay, where that really falls, which is the big difference between the administrative manual and the union contracts, is our retiree health insurance. That's what encourages people to stay on as an administrator, because the administrators receive retiree health insurance until the day they die. The other contracts receive it only 20 years after their retirement, after a certain date of hiring. So, and that is what the biggest encouragement we have in the manual. We also, the other union contracts.
How do you come to that? How do you come to that perspective? That's the
Because
biggest.
that's how it's written in the contracts.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying that's the biggest encouragement to stay.
Because that means a lot to the administrators, that they know that, and you have to retire from the retirement system to receive that benefit.
Right.
So their goal is, and most administrators, it's a 30-year career, not a 20-year career like a uniform. So if they're wanting to retire from the retirement system, depending on what tier they're in, then they receive their health insurance as a retiree benefit.
But my question is, how do you know that that's the incentive?
Just from meeting with the administrators, a number of them talk to me about their retiree health insurance. So I know that's very important to them.
Well,
So what's the contribution then for the administrative staff for this health insurance?
Depends on your date of hire. It could be the date of your contribution rate at the date of retirement, or it could be based on the schedule.
Is that section 3 of the health insurance?
Yeah, it's, yeah.
page 10?
Yeah, it's on page 10, section 3. Wait, that's the disabilities. Yeah, so, hold on. I just have to refresh my memory.
D2? It just says same rate of contribution in effect as the date of retirement.
Right.
I mean, that's great. I have no thoughts on that part. I do have some thoughts on the other parts.
So,
Well, no, What is the answer to the question? I'd love to know what it is, because I don't find it in this document. What is-
If you go to,
Contribution.
Current employees?
Yeah, and the administrative staff for health insurance.
Not retirees, so 15%.
So if you retired today,
Is it
you
in
would
this
stay
document?
15%, correct? Got it,
I'm sorry, I misunderstood Mike's question.
okay. All right,
So Greg, is it in this document?
no. Is it?
The 15% is it in this document? I'm just missing-
Yeah, it's on page
I thought I saw it.
Right.
2A.
2A?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right. And I skimmed over there twice.
Okay, gotcha. And the 15%, that's based on other collective bargaining agreements, right?
It's the same as other bargaining except for DBA, which is a little bit higher, 16-point-something%. And that was based on how that contract was negotiated.
Gotcha. We're really jumping around now.
I just wanted to understand, because it's been recognized that the charts that we've been talking about were in comparison to the bargaining units. I just wanted to know if that was the same. Sorry, that was the reason for my question.
No, that's okay.
Which kind of leads into your question of the cancer screening. Is that part of, is that part of it?
Well, I wasn't gonna ask that one right now, but that's law, that you can go for cancer screening without it being charged to your sick time.
You get 4 hours a year.
Yeah,
Is that for any cancer screening?
as far as I know, your doctor has to certify that you were seen for cancer screening. Yeah, but like annual exams for women
Right.
are included.
So I think I put a note in there that maybe we should include that, because you said it was by law, so.
Yeah, I just feel like it makes sense to put
Because
it
there
in
was
there.
some other references to law, like general municipal law was referenced to in this document.
Yeah, and it says you can use your sick time, but since you don't have to use your sick time for that, I feel like mentioning it is good.
So if there is a law, that's
Yeah. So we kind of jumped around. There's so much I have questions about. I'm gonna just go back to health insurance for a moment. So this one, Article 7, Section 2, Bullet 2, Section 1B. Are we following? It's on page 8. Okay. It says basically that, if both spouses are employed by the city, that they can't be in separate plans. But my understanding is that it's less, well, I just wanted to know the thinking on that. Because my understanding was that it's less expensive for 2 individual plans than it is for a family plan.
We have we have a 2-person plan.
Oh, okay, and the
So,
2-person plan
Is less expensive than 2
than
individuals.
Okay, that makes total sense, thank you. So 2-person plan. Can I ask a follow-up question about that?
Sure.
The health insurance buyout, if someone is covered by the, well,
on the spot.
if someone is covered by the spouse, like the spouse has the 2-person plan, is the other partner eligible for the buyout?
Yes, under the admin manual. So,
Okay,
and that would behoove us because it will say that health insurance. So for example, if some contracts don't allow it. So if you look at some of the other union contracts, I think all of them allow it except one, which I think is the CSA contract. They do not allow the buyout if they're covered by another city employee.
and so why would it behoove us to include that?
Because it incentivizes them to go onto the 2-person plan also.
But they're contractually required to go on the 2-person plan.
Yes, but we do receive pushback, and we have had some different situations where people were covered under different union contracts, where one was a CSA worker and one might be a police officer, that type of thing.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why I never
I'm gonna give that some thought.
So if they were both administrators, it would be easy.
Right,
But one might be an administrator, one might be a CSE worker.
yeah, that's interesting, I hadn't thought about that, thank you. Okay.
Do we force them to take the bottom?
I don't know, what do you mean? Do we?
So you just said it behooves us to offer that.
Yeah,
So
if we
do-
have if we have an administrator, and a union person, they're married, or there might be, a parent and child, they're covered under a two-person plan. They can decide amongst themselves who wants to have the coverage,
Okay,
depending on what the contribution is. So if the one employee says, no, my contribution rate is lower, which now they're basically all the same, except the sergeants are, the sergeants are higher. But now citywide, basically everybody's at 15%. So we don't have that conflict anymore, but sometimes one person wants to have the coverage instead of the other. So then it depends on under which union contract they're being covered. Are they being covered under the administrative manual guidelines, or are they being covered under the CSA contract or the PBA contract? So it's gonna depend on who the policyholder is. So this way, if they decide that they want to be covered under the PBA contract policyholder, then we give them the admin, the employee then will receive the buyout under the admin manual.
gotcha. Okay. Did that answer your question? Okay. I would like to make sure that if there's any burning questions that anyone has about this, that we are able to spend a few minutes on them. So what do you guys want to make sure that we cover today while we're all together? Do you have anything? So, yes, I want to go over that. Glenn, are you considering my question? Okay, cool.
So again, I guess I'm concerned that we're allowing so much benefit to go to people that resign so quickly in years that they have on a job. I don't think it says, I just don't think it sends a good message to the rest of the employees that are staying with us.
That they
You're
get,
giving benefits to people that come and go. I can think of some people that I'm like, really, we gave all that benefit? Until you made us dive deep into this thing, I'll be honest with you.
Sure.
So now I'm really thinking, what are we doing for, because those two guys back there, I don't want to see them go. I don't want to see Greg go, I don't want to see Carrie go. I mean, so all of these folks that are in these positions, what does it take to make sure that they're appreciated? I don't know. I don't think I have all the answers, but by giving the benefits, the same benefits that they work hard for to the people that come and go, to me, it's just not right. It's just me.
Can I elaborate on that for a minute? Right. Or if Carrie and Greg are here long-term, they're allowed to accrue up to 400 hours to be paid out for their final vacation. Where somebody that's only here a year, it would only be 80 hours.
Yep.
I
That's clear.
get that, but you're also giving them holidays, and vacation time, and, our health benefits are pretty phenomenal. I mean, that was the carrot that I chased after for 26 years, so. I don't know, it's just me. Hate
Do
me,
you
love
get
me,
your
whatever
retire-
you're gonna do,
Do you get your retiree health insurance for the city?
but that was the carrot. I figured I could, excuse my language, shovel shit for the rest of my life, but the health insurance, I needed, because I have 2 artificial hips. I've had 4 hip surgeries, and the city health insurance paid for that. So,
Ouch.
I'm
Okay.
very, very thankful for my health insurance.
So we're obviously gonna have to come back to this, there's a lot. We didn't touch at all.
So the only way to send this
Compensation.
document between the 3 of us is
No,
I'm gonna now see what Shannon writes,
Well-
unless she chimes in on the same one that I sent back to you.
I can scan the text and put it into a Google document, and then we can make live comments on that. That's way easier. I just thought I would give Adobe a try, but it doesn't
Yeah,
do
it
what I
doesn't,
want.
I want to
So-
share it with you guys, and because of our internet security system in the city, it could,
So, I will do that so that we can continue to work on this. And I know for sure in terms of takeaways, we wanted to be thinking about, and we'll need to look into what's allowed legally, through Department of Labor, through, acknowledgement of consistent working overtime without changing the classification of salaried exempt. We wanted to look at the titles on Appendix B. And at some point, we have to figure out what to do about salary adjustment, annual salary adjustments.
My question would be to Craig, is you mentioned about doing a salary study, or doing that process.
Over,
That's something we're gonna do internally,
okay,
possibly with some help from the outside, mostly internally. You referenced earlier the city comparisons that we did last year. I think looking at those cities as well as any other municipalities that we looked at prior competition study makes sense. But that would be a process I would go through as part of it, as this document suggests, that making suggestions in the budget process for any changes here, so.
okay.
I'm not gonna say that I can have anything like that for any upcoming meeting.
Sure.
Soon, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Me, AI is not gonna print it out by tomorrow.
I would not trust AI.
And the purpose of that would be to make recommendations for the Appendix B and the salary schedule that we're given for the budget.
Right.
Theoretically? Or are there any other?
Not just for this, but also looking at some contracts that we're
Okay.
putting out. I mean, that's part of the job,
Okay,
taking advice, giving advice on.
okay, that sounds good. And then, okay, so we have overtime, we have Appendix B, we have, what was the other thing? Just look at the wording, I guess, with an eye to, recognizing and valuing, employees who stay a long time, and just considering some of this language, does it, achieve that or not? Or, you know, because I think the thing is, if we're paying folks who have been here for 1 year, I'm just gonna harp on this example. If we're paying folks who've been here for 1 year and quit, 10 vacation days, and, I don't know, holidays and whatever, like, it's all money that we could be spending on the next person, or on the people who are staying.
Staying past.
So I wanna make sure, like, every time we talk, it's about how, you know, we need to, it's not a deep well, it's not an endless well, right? So we have to make some careful decisions, and I would definitely rather shift that funding to people who are here 90 hours every 2 weeks, you know?
I'd like to give you a different example.
Sure.
But
Okay, that sounds good. Okay.
I have
Oh,
one
sorry,
question.
sure.
Do you limit your department heads of when they can take vacation?
Not really. I've never had an I request, if someone requested 6 months off, that would be a different issue, but, you know, most employers can keep it too. There's been a rare case of someone taking longer than that, but I'm not micromanaging when they take their time.
Yeah.
Ultimately, their responsibility as a salaried administrative employee is to make sure that the duties of their job in their office are being carried out. So if someone leaves in their office, can't cover the load, has no idea what they're doing, we would have another problem. So I think that's kind of part of the salary exam administrative thing, going back to what we were talking about earlier, with tracking their time, work outside of office hours, if there are no real office hours, then that's working the hours of your employees, but I think with a salary administrative position, you're looking at job duties and expectations about, is that individual meeting those expectations or not? So a lot of this, to me, a different way to look at it is from, as a council, is budget perspective, like what are our expectations of the output of our employees? If we have employees who are working 80 hours a week, are we asking too much of them? Or is it another issue? So that's just another
Well, so can I just,
long-winded answer.
can I just take that a step further? Because if you know that there are employees who are working 80 hours per week, like, I don't know what they're doing. I didn't know you had employees who work 80 hours, or 80 hours every 2, or 90 to 100 hours every 2 weeks. So my question is, like, I don't know what their duties are. I don't know what they're doing. Like, if you are aware that this is going on, like, what mediation has been made available to that department, to that individual, to be able to make it so that, because I think that's where our responsibility lies, is we either recognize that this is the load of someone, they accept that, and we compensate them properly in whatever way that, whatever form that looks like, or we adjust their work if it's possible in order to make it, because a work schedule is a real thing, and it's in the admin manual for a reason, so I think it's on us to look at someone who's working more than their scheduled hours on a regular basis, like what their work duties are, and is it an appropriate amount of work for that one person. There are circumstances, like the water treatment plant or whatever, which we've talked about, where like you can't, right, because they're responsible for it, and there's a certain amount of that you can't shift away, but like if it's an engineering technician who's consistently here 100 hours every 2 weeks, like maybe that their work duties need to be looked at, and that wouldn't be something for us to do, because I wouldn't know where to start.
Just to give you a good place to start is the second half of the committee's name, which we talked about earlier tonight, looking at the strategic plan. I know that's a high level thing, but it breaks down to a lower level, and ultimately that's a setting of priorities. And so when we're talking with, I'm talking with department heads and other administrators about people who are potentially overworked, we look at our priorities as set by the council and work down from there. So are we addressing the high priorities? Are we addressing regulatory issues? Are we addressing things that have to be done? And then that might give us some idea as to where we can adjust, and ultimately, if the budget and the staffing level is not there, not do something. Say no to something. No, we can't do that because we're at our limit. Whereas now, lacking priorities and strategic priorities, it's hard to say no or adjust anything. We have changing priorities all the time. Usually it's just what's next, what's new, what needs to be added and addressed now. Pick a committee, any committee agenda, you look how it goes in the year, there are new things being added. There's never any direction to take something off. So that makes it difficult to prioritize. So that's why I think certain department heads and administrators get pulled in a lot of directions, and without some better priorities, it's tough to choose what to do and what to take off of it. So understanding we're not ever going to have more than enough staff where everyone's working 40 hours a